Hello, we've been expecting you. Welcome to the For Your Ears Only podcast. My name is Jack and I'm joined by fellow host Derek. Over the series of the show, we will be discussing all of the James Bond movies in order to rediscover our love for the films and to learn a few new things along the way. In each episode, we will deep dive into the actors, the gadgets, the villains, and the music. We will also be uncovering little known facts and discussing our favourite Bond moments and how these have contributed to the film's enduring legacy. We even have 3 questions throughout the episode that only the biggest Bond fans will answer correctly. So strap yourself to that jetpack and get those martinis shaken as we are about to begin. Welcome to episode 002 from Russia with Love, October 1963, directed by Terence Young. So, we'll start. Derek, what's your initial thoughts on this film?
I don't remember it from a boy. I watched it for the first time in probably about 25 years. 25 years? Yeah, maybe 25 years, a couple of weeks ago. At first I was lost. I thought it was a very long film and I didn't really get what was going on, and then I watched it again for the second time and I thought it was a great film. It was very strange.
Excellent.
Because at first I was like, I don't know, what's going on? Is it a train and then there's a Istanbul and what's happening? And then when I watched it for the second time and actually absorbed it and was writing down names and following it, and at the end I was like, that was a great film, but I actually enjoyed it more for Red Grant rather than James Bond in the story.
Alright, for the villain in the story.
Underrated
Yes. Villain. I would say, yeah, I would say he's a villain that's kind of top tier. One that all other villains should be like put against a standard.
That was actually why, because he dyed his hair blonde for it, and then a lot of Bond villains afterwards were blonde for that reason, because that like Stamper, probably first when it comes to head. I don't think he's actually blonde, but they dyed his hair blonde to make him look scary.
Yeah, he looks pretty similar actually now I think back on it. They're pretty similar build and everything.
I actually think, before we got into what the film was about, I actually think Robert Shaw reminded me a lot of Daniel Craig. Not just for the looks,
right,
but they appear to wear the same grey suit, white shirt and navy tie that Daniel Craig wears in these films, and the way he walks and kind of, apart from the leather random murder gloves,
yeah,
that's all they are. He reminded me very much of him. That like stern look of just drifting through places, killing somebody just like mercilessly, and then leaving like nothing happened. And I was like, that's what Daniel Craig does. Maybe Daniel Craig should play a spin-off, but play Red Grant.
Oh,
you heard it here first.
And like a remake. You should
Hi,
come back.
is this broccoli?
She's watching. Yes, okay. So we have a regular segment where one of us will have to describe the film's plot within 2 minutes. So, Derek, are you ready to give your synopsis?
I have to press the button. And you're on the timer.
Just wait for your timer will start when the boatwoman says so.
Thanks, Pierce.
Go.
So the film opens with a strange-looking Sean Connery being chased through a maze by Red Grant. It ends with Red Grant killing Sean Connery. It turns out this is a fake, and it's like a spy killing academy, and Red Grant kills Sean Connery in a certain amount of time, and everyone realises that this guy is there to kill, not Sean Connery, James Bond. It then goes to the first time we see Blofeld with a cat, and Rosa Klebb and Kronstein. Before that, Kronstein is a chess grandmaster, like a master strategist, where they have a plan to steal a Lecter decoding machine from the Russians, which was called a Spectre but now called a Lecter. Their plan is to use a spy called what's her name? Tatiana Romanova, to ultimately be like a honey trap for James Bond.
Nice.
The MI6 also want a Lecter as well, so they're going to send James Bond to kind of do that and just steal it anyway, but they think the opportunity is too big to miss up. They think the Russians are being stupid, but they don't know that Spectre's involved. James Bond goes to Istanbul, meets Tatiana Romano, meets Karen Bay, who is helping MI6. They're spying on the Russian spies the British, back and forth, blah blah blah. They steal the letter from the Russian embassy. How long is left?
Half a minute.
They steal the letter from the Russian embassy. They get on a train to go out. Red Grant helps James Bond survive throughout this so he can steal it from the train.
Yep.
They get to the train. There's a fist fight. Red Grant dies, James Bond gets out, and then there's a helicopter, and the helicopter tries to kill them. He shoots on the helicopter, and then boats arrive, and the boats blow up from the oil, and then James Bond gets away with the lecter.
Okay. Whoa, that was rapid.
That was so tense.
At the end there, that was crazy.
I forgot. I actually just remember, I was like, oh, there was a fucking helicopter, and then there was boats. What was the $2 million budget for this film? I just realised that actually 90% of the film is like walking, spying, walking, choking, walking, and then it's like fucking run the helicopter, run.
Right at the very end it all happens.
And then it's like, oh no, it's fine, we've shot the helicopter down, let's get on the boat. That was filmed in Scotland. That's
it was, yes. I looked it up. I think it's Gilphead.
Yes.
Isn't that far away. So that was 1 minute 54, nearly 1:55.
That was very tense.
You got there.
Doctor No last week was a simple script. This was also quite a simple script. I think I bogged myself down with the names. Tatiana Romanova has been in my head for the last.
Practicing that all night,
yes.
And when it came to it,
did you know that in the film Tatiana? I know we'll get onto the actors, but the Tatiana Romanova character, the actress that played her, Daniela Bianchi, it was not her legs in the office scene when they were using the periscope, or when the naked person got into the bed. That was not her.
That wasn't
else.
her. I did not know those facts. Those are good facts. Whose legs were they?
Mine. I've come prepared this week.
I've come prepared.
Do you want to go through the history?
Yeah. So what we usually do is have a look at where the real world is at the time of filming and around about this era. So some sort of big headlines that happened around 1963 where there was a first man in space, which is Yuri Gagarin from the USSR. And a fact about Yuri Gagarin is that his portrait can be seen in the wall of the Russian embassy in Turkey in From Russia With Love.
Yes.
That's a good fact. So the space race is heating up between the USA and the USSR. Turkey, where this film is mostly set, has had some unrest at the time and after some failed coups.
Coups?
Coups?
Moo.
Coup? But it's not a coup, it is a coup.
A coup, yeah.
Military coups.
Just pulling your udder.
Yes. Oh, Derek.
Get in the bin!
Cancel. Start again. Right, so in Turkey there was some unrest and some failed coups. Then Turkey is very close to Russia, which meant that the UK and US frequently had surveillance operations in the region, which potentially led to a lot of the unrest.
Allegedly.
So the history of the world at that time is it's all about East and West. This film is set in Turkey, mostly. Turkey is where a lot of spying seems to be happening at the time in the real world as well. Do you think that why do you think the book is the book or the film even is kind of that?
I thought Ian Fleming was in Turkey when he wrote this, or Istanbul. I don't know. I thought he picked this because he was in the area.
I thought that he was getting paid to write a column where he was in Turkey, and that's where he had the idea of the Orient Express.
Oh, is that it? Right.
That's why the Orient Express is there, because he was paid to do something, write a column which involved him going in the Orient Express.
But there wasn't any murder. Literal murder.
Must be the only time there's been no murder on the Orient.
Do you see a lot of people dying in the Orient Express?
You would have thought that James Bond wouldn't have went on the Orient Express if he had read Agatha Christie.
Is that a joke?
I think so. It was meant to
You
be.
get in the bin.
Right, okay, so now we come to our first question of the evening. As you know, we have 3 questions that only the biggest Bond fan can answer. So, Derek, would you like to give the first question?
Yes, I shall. So, before being transferred to the bridal suite of the hotel, Bond was allocated a room which he found had been bugged in several locations. What was the number of this room?
Oh. You'll know if you've seen the film. It's
If you paid
said,
attention to the film.
it's said in the dialogue.
Right, now pay attention, 007.
I forgot to press
Right, will we start that bit again?
No.
Okay, right, so when you were going through the plot, do you know a couple of things came to mind when I was re-watching it that was similar to the previous and first film, Doctor No?
Sean Connery was in it.
Sean Connery was in it. Did you know that too? Did you notice
The
that?
guy that played M plays M in this film.
Yes,
The woman that played Moneypenny plays Moneypenny in this film.
but the man that played Boothroyd is a different man this time.
Desmond Llewellyn.
Yes.
But does that mean Boothroyd is his name for the rest of the series? But Q is his code name? Because he is credited as Boothroyd.
Yeah, in this film,
This film was credited as Boothroyd, and then in the following films he's debited as Q because that's where... Well, they say Q branch
He
in
does
this
say
film.
Q branch, so
What
why
does
would
that
they?
mean? Quartermaster branch?
Quartermaster, yeah.
Right.
I don't know why they
I don't know,
needed
there
to
was a
change.
lot. There was a lot of like, I don't know, back and forth. Like with the, I've got 3 villains noted, and we'll go with not M. He's not a villain, or is he?
Whoa, that could have been a awesome
Blofeld.
story.
I don't know how I forgot his name. Blofeld. Like so,
Blofeld
the actor that plays Blofeld
in this film.
in this film, and it turns out subsequent films where it's just the cat in his lap,
Yep.
is the actor that played Professor Dent in Doctor No,
Okay,
but not his voice.
but not his voice.
No, different voice.
Yeah.
Name I couldn't remember. I never wrote it down. But it's the person that played Blofeld in this was the person who played Professor Dent in Doctor No.
Okay.
And he does that for 2 or 3 roles, maybe. Maybe I'm getting confused. But the guy who does the voice of Blofeld definitely does multiple films, and it's none of the actors that play Blofeld.
I've got another tiny little fact about Blofeld.
Oh no,
This
he's
is
allergic to cats.
this is the last time we see Blofeld with hair until 1971.
What?
Yep, because every other actor is bald.
Why are they bald? Is that more evil?
It must be. It's
Or
part
just
of
a man without hair? I don't know.
yeah. No hair,
That's
big
the
scar.
60s thing.
No hair, no earlobes, and the evil people.
But
But yeah, he has hair in this, and this is the last time he has the hair in the 60s.
He also has a cat. Cats are evil.
Cats are evil, I don't like cats. The fish is good. But what I was trying to say earlier
Yes.
about the similarities to Doctor No is in From Russia with Love, he flies to Turkey, gets in the car of the good guys,
Yes.
and is followed by the bad guys.
Who are the bad guys? Are the bad guys here? Is that Smersh or is that?
No, the
that-
bad guys here are just like, I thought they were
They're,
like
they're hired by the Russians.
hired by the Russians to keep an eye on
Yes.
the Western spy guys. So he gets chased by them, who in turn are getting chased by Red Grant.
Grant, yeah.
And that's a similarity to Doctor No, because he comes out of an airport and gets into a car who's actually the bad guy, gets chased by the good guys, who's chased by the bad guys. So it's all inverted.
Felix Leiter isn't in From Russia with
And
Love,
there's
is
no
there?
Felix in there.
There's no Americans.
So I thought that was quite a good fact. It was
I mean,
slightly.
that's what's good about
different.
Red Grant. Red Grant's he's always just there. He blends in so well.
Yeah, one of the best parts of
He kills
Red
one of the guys
Grant-
actually. He kills one of the guys in
Yeah,
the car.
yeah.
And then has the audacity to leave the
Leave
back
him.
seat, and then just gets out the car and goes,
It goes into the next guy.
puts his gloves on. I was like, give that guy a film.
He could right now. He would have his own Disney Plus series.
No, not Disney Plus.
It wouldn't be Netflix.
It'd be HBO.
It would probably have to be Amazon, actually.
HBO. We want gratuitous violence.
Just non-stop
Him in that
violence.
watch. wire thing.
Oh, that's quite cool. The gloves thing is quite good. Every time he puts on the gloves, you know he's going to kill
means
someone. He's
business.
not going to drive.
He's driving. Yeah. So yeah, the actors, like obviously Sean Connery's come back because he's there. I did learn as well that Sean Connery cemented his role as James Bond in this film, more so for that to Ian Fleming, who wasn't convinced that he was James Bond from Dr. No, but he liked Sean Connery so much in From Russia with Love that he actually wrote in James Bond's Scottish ancestry because he liked Sean Connery's portrayal.
Yeah,
in
the way
this,
he's done
and that
it.
was where that came from. This is the last James Bond film Ian Fleming saw as well.
I know,
So,
sad, isn't it?
all the
How
books
you
for
only
that.
seen two. Because he's such a
Which-
big smoker.
Ian
And that's-
Fleming?
I think that's what got him in the end.
That's what got him.
Got him in the end.
Nah, it was Red Grant. Red Grant came out of the picture. Actually, that's
4D.
quite a good point, because we were talking about the books earlier and how the books at this time in March of 2023, just in case anyone's watching this in the future, is there's a debate about what's it, censoring? Changing language?
Changing it to kind of make
Not even words, not like changing full sentences for
Yeah.
the meaning of it coming through. And this happened because it was Roald Dahl, first of all, been like taken out, and I was like, right, okay, but I don't understand how long has the survey been,
Yeah.
which has been to change this, other than someone whose job it is just to say, I think we should change this. But what I learned is that the James Bond books are actually being edited and approved for edited by the Fleming estate.
By the estate, yep.
So, I was like, I get that people might be up in arms. However,
Yeah.
if I was the Fleming estate, it's we've no shifted books in a while. Let's make more versions. And it's
Let's
like, if
change
you're,
it again.
if you're a collector, it's like, well, I've got the old ones.
No,
I need the new ones
Yeah.
now. I need the 2023
That's a
versions.
bit like me. I liked when I got my set of books. I liked them for the artwork that were on the books, and then like 4 years later they brought out other
changed
artwork,
them.
and I was like, oh, I really want them as well.
It's like the
But I
DVD thing,
resisted
like
it.
you bet the ultimate collection of DVD or Blu-ray,
Yep.
and then they add a film, and it's like, fucking, I can't squeeze this in. I need to get the next one.
Yeah, I know, that's what I hate. I have the briefcase of the original 20 films before Daniel Craig, and obviously there's no space for any Daniel
Yeah.
Craig ones, so they just sit themselves.
And you're like, it's incomplete.
It makes my OCD really
Yeah,
bad.
because we were saying the other day, because it was about, I think the article was focusing on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I don't know the actual name. I think it is Charlie and the
Charlie,
Chocolate Factory,
yeah.
and Willy Wonka is the film Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. There is a difference, and I can't remember which. No, writing it down because I didn't think
you
I was going to
sure?
be talking about this. Yes, there is. One of the wait, maybe it's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is the Tim Burton one.
I thought they were both just Charlie.
No, one is definitely.
I know the new ones with Timothy Chalamet is going to be a musical about young
Timothy Chalamet.
about young Willy Wonka.
Did anyone ask to see that? No one asked for it.
Nobody wanted it, but we're getting it. A musical. So was the article about the original Oompa Loompas?
I don't know if it was the Oompa Loompas, but it was talking about how like Augustus Gloop is described as fat, and they wanted to change the
Sort
language.
of fat shaming them.
But then I looked this up after thinking it. I always thought, it seems like an English professor brain, I always thought that the characters in Willy Wonka were the sins. I just assumed that was it.
Oh,
But
each
then-
kid was a different sin.
Not just kid, just character. And I
Right.
looked into it, and someone also thought about this.
Okay.
And yes, so it's like Augustus Gloop is gluttony.
Yep.
Veruca Salt is vanity.
Uh-huh.
Charlie is lust, because he's after the ticket. He's lusts after the ticket.
Oh.
I think that one's kind of shoehorned. What's the other one?
Pride.
What's Pride is...
The TV guy?
I was going to say Johnny TV. No, it's Mike TV.
Uh-huh.
What's the other one? What's the anger
purple
one?
one.
Rage. What's Rage?
What's Rage?
There's
Wrath.
Wrath is Willy Wonka himself.
Okay.
And then the grandpa's something. Because he's envy. Yeah, he's envious that Charlie's got it. He wants to come to the factory as well, and there's like,
I don't know if Roald Dahl thought that through. Really,
I don't think Roald Dahl. I think every
Intended
writer
that.
at a certain point was just fucking high out the tree and just like
yeah. Every writer after the fact, if somebody says something, it's like, yeah, I meant that.
they were smoking or they were just coked out and they were
Yeah.
just writing and just whatever.
But I thought I watched a TikTok, so we can kind of, maybe it's not 100% correct, but
It's not.
the reason that they're changing the Roald Dahl books is because the original Oompa Loompas weren't little orange guys; they were Africans that he kidnapped from Africa and forced them to work for free labour. That was the very original.
Right, so I think I'm kind of on board with that. I think maybe let's change that. Little orange people from. That's
Yeah.
not even great actually, because it wasn't like, do you want employment? It was not every single one in the company work for me.
Yep.
How are we
Okay,
off
let's
topic
go
now?
back. Let's go back to
From Russia with love. Actually, on that note of a fun fact, I did find a fact that
which fact?
I don't think anyone else has found.
Okay, go for it.
And now I only checked this once, so I could be wrong. So I'm sorry if anyone wants to check this. But one of the questions we were going to have on this episode, which we took off because I want to share this, is how long did it take Red Grant to kill the fake James Bond at the start of the film? Because the Smersh person comes
He
out
times it.
and says, Grant, 1 minute 52. That was the time it took him to kill it. Now, I watched the film again, and I had the stopwatch to start at the moment the fight sequence breaks out in the train, where James Bond is fighting Red Grant. Now, I don't know if this was intentional.
Okay.
Probably not. It probably just changed the number at the start of the film.
Right.
But the fight breaks out, blah blah blah, light goes off, the blue light comes on and they start
Yeah.
fighting each other. And at the moment that James Bond chokes out Red Grant and he hits the ground, or hits the chair and dies, is 1 minute 52.
Okay. Which is the same as.
It's the same.
Same
James
time.
Bond killed Red Grant in the same time that Red Grant killed fake James Bond at the start. Now, probably what they did is they filmed the fight sequence at the end, edited together, went, how long did that take? And then went to the start, went, right, so this scene at the start.
Do you think it was then?
I don't know if this is intentional. And if it's intentional, very clever, well done.
Yeah.
I wish there was more about it, because I can't find anything online about it. If it's not intentional, then
A great coincidence.
a big coincidence.
That's awesome, actually.
Feel free to check this. I could be.
Yeah.
I could be.
Right in.
Yeah, shoehorning it into. This could be bias that I'm wanting it to be 152. But when I clicked it from that time, 152, and I was very surprised at that.
We'll just say it is.
It sounds like a niche thing, and I would like to be the first one to discover
Surely
it.
somebody else would have said that, though. There are people out there who go frame by frame in these things. Speaking of frame by frame, there is a 1 second part of the film at the very, very end. Do you know this? Where the helicopter crashes
Oh yeah.
and James Bond's like jumping out the way.
Yeah.
And at the side of the screen you can see the stuntman dressed as James Bond also jumping the other way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So like for a split second you can see like 2 James Bonds on the film.
There is 2 of them.
I'll send the screenshot.
Was the helicopter pilot not almost killed Sean Connery?
I read that as well because he was inexperienced.
Of course. Everyone was a
course.
student in this film.
Just the cheapest person. I also found out that they had to reshoot the fake James Bond because everybody in the tests thought it was Sean Connery. When he took off the mask, he was like, still looks like Sean Connery. So they had to reshoot it with a different actor who had a moustache so that people would go, oh yeah, that's not Sean Connery.
Yeah, because see, at the start of the film, when me and Rachel were watching this, Rachel was like, "Fucking look at his hair! How much makeup's on him?" And I was like, "Yeah, it looks a bit weird." And then I was like, "Oh, it's meant to be a mask thing."
Yeah.
I don't know why they would need him to look like the guy. Like, couldn't kill it? Could be anybody.
Well, they didn't intentionally make the guy look like Sean Connery. So when the test audience was like, "Are you sure?" and they had to reshoot it with a guy who definitely doesn't look like Sean Connery.
That's fun.
I found out that Spectre Island Spectre Island is like real in the books. There is a full Spectre Island.
This is
that they own.
Spectre, like Spectre.
Spectre, the villains.
Spek.
No.
No.
Spectre as in the organisation. Spectre have
Alright.
their own island
Alright.
in the books.
Of course they do.
But
Why do they keep buying up other islands? They could do everything there.
that's why they need extortion to keep the island going.
It's expensive business.
But the producer on the film, I think it must have been Broccoli, had seen the film Spartacus, where there's like the gladiator training, and he was like, I want that in the film, and that's why there's Spectre
right, and that was
training.
like the montage of a guy, people firing shots right next to each other. Who's that? Oh, this is just a flamethrower.
Yeah.
But then the flamethrower, and a guy dives at the way, and I'm like, is this training? Like,
But it's I don't know if it was meant to be funny or not, because like you see all the people shooting and then the flamethrowers, and then you see guys like doing karate and guys in like gladiator outfits with swords and
it does
stuff.
just look like they've ran out of space.
Yeah.
It's just a school PE hall. It's like, I will just do everything here. Like the horse riding, I would do a horse riding as well, just in the corner.
Just do any kind of thing that looks evil in
So-
this one room.
Why, you will know a lot more about the hiring. Why was Daniela Bianchi
I
hired
don't
for
know why
Tassie?
she was hired.
I only know she was in 3 films prior to this.
I
She
would
was
say I don't know why she was hired, but I do know that she, like Sean Connery, was in the Miss Universe. Well, Sean Connery was Mr. Universe.
know this again.
She was
Where
Miss
did she
Universe.
finish?
Where did she finish? I have it in my notes. I think she was the runner-up in Miss Universe 1960, and she's from Rome.
She's 60. I know she was Italian.
So do you think they just go to all these pageants and that's how they pick out the
Who's
Bond girls?
the next year? Ronnie Coleman. They probably do. That's where they find those. That's where they find people who fit the bill.
Yeah, okay.
I think maybe back then. The problem is
Less
now,
now.
like it's so competitive in the acting world. Like every second person had probably some aspiration of younger of being an actor, but back then maybe the opportunities weren't quite there. It wasn't quite big. Maybe there was less films, so it maybe was quite competitive. So was acting ability really required, or was it just you need to look good because posters are our medium to advertise?
Yeah, that's the only adverts.
There's no trailers,
If you
there's no
look good.
smartphone things. We don't need you to say anything. If you look good in the poster, when people are in the door, alright, fine.
As long as they've bought a ticket,
They've
they won't know.
they've bought their ticket.
They won't know
You
that
look
you're
attractive. They
terrible.
want to come and see you.
Yeah, that's probably why everybody was dubbed, because it doesn't matter.
How many people were dubbed in this?
I know that she was dubbed.
She was dubbed.
Yeah.
She's Italian.
Because
I'm
she's
assuming it's
Italian.
Okay. Robert Shaw. Why was he hired? He was actually quite a lot of things beforehand.
What was he now?
Then he was in Jaws as well.
I knew that he was in Jaws later. He was probably
Mm-hmm.
a lot more famous for that role.
There was something about Robert Shaw was hired for Jaws because of
Because of his role in
his
this
role
film.
as Red Grant. I don't really know what's transferable. like,
No,
he's
what's the
gonna-
transferable
shark
skills?
appears and he takes the wire.
He puts on his gloves to fight the shark.
He dives in.
Oh,
Oh, here's a fun fact.
okay.
So see the guy that M sends, the agent, at the train station in
Nash.
Yes, Nash, which is a funny coincidence.
in
Could be.
Zagreb.
In Zagreb, yeah. He wasn't an actor.
Okay. What was he?
The actual actor didn't show up, so this guy was just a member of the crew.
Oh, because the guy never showed up. They're
I think
like,
he was
oh, we
sick,
need somebody
and
in.
they just said, "You'll do it," and he went, "Okay," and that was him.
Well, he doesn't really say anything, does he? Does
Dies.
he?
I
He
think
gets
no.
killed.
He does say. In fact, no, they don't. Because
they
they
just
don't say that.
mime.
They just mime that they're going to do something.
Yeah, that you're the right person.
Yeah, I think
And
he
he
was
takes
the-
them into the men's toilet.
gloves on. I think as well, like he must have been quite short. That must have been what they were looking for, because not really
Why?
short, because Robert Shaw is 2 or 3 inches shorter than Sean Connery. So
Okay.
whenever they were together, they had to put him on a box.
Oh, really? Wow. I
like
didn't know
Gimli.
that.
Just so he still looked menacing. Because
Like they do that with Tom Holland in Zendaya. He's always in a box to bring it back to like the 21st century.
There were a lot of people actually.
Yeah,
It's not like
probably
Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise.
Jinx.
It was someone else. There's probably quite a lot of people where they have to put them on a box to make them just look less. I think
Small.
I heard that in a lot of old westerns they used to do it. The hero couldn't be smaller than the damsel in distress kind of thing. So that was made them taller. The person had to like kneel down.
Like in old black and white gangster films, the good guys always had to wear the white hats and the villains always wore the black fedoras.
Yes.
So you could tell. I don't know why you wouldn't figure that out via the plot, but
Via the cat and the old head and scars.
right, okay. So we've talked about the actor.
Rosa Klebb. I mean,
Let's go to the villains.
is Rosa
What do you know about Rosa Klebb, the actress?
Lottie Lenya? Don't know a thing.
You don't know anything. Did you know?
I know that her death scene at the end was.
Far too over the top.
It reminded me of the death scene at the end of The Dark Knight Rises from what's her name? French actress. And she just goes, and that's her. And Gary Oldman, Oscar winners, had to look at this and just go, "Fucking who's this? Is this sharing the stage with me?" Gary Oldman, Christian Bale, all Oscar winners are like, "Whoa." I didn't understand. I was laughing actually.
It was over the top,
Yeah.
wasn't it? It was one of those that they probably show that in like film school to say, don't do this.
Why did they? She is a scary looking woman.
Yes, but she was in like plays and musicals, and I think she was even a ballerina when she was younger.
Right.
She only weighed 100 pounds in that film at that time. I don't know why I knew that, but but she was famous for her husband was Kurt Weill, who was
So it was nepotism.
probably
Was she also in Mr. Universe?
the £100 Mr. Universe. But yeah, Kurt Weill was famous for like musicals and writing the song Mac the Knife.
Oh,
So that's her.
was Matt the Knife about Rosa Klebb?
Ah,
The knife, the shoe,
the shoe
I
knife.
suppose that actually brings us on to the gadget side. So the villains had a lot of gadgets. The villains had the shoe knife, which was a thing, which is a clever thing. In fact,
Great, isn't it?
to bring it back to Batman, the Joker had a shoe knife as well in The Dark Knight
does he?
when he's in Bruce Wayne's party, and the fight all kicks off when he like stamps his heel and the knife comes out.
Oh yeah.
Christopher
Good
Nolan.
lord.
That's another thing. Christopher Nolan should direct it, but we'll get to an episode of that.
That's
There was
good.
obviously the Wire and the Watch
Yep.
from Red Grant. There was actually quite a lot of interesting things I found about the Q branch. So obviously there's a tear gas intruder deterrent. I don't really know
In the
why.
suitcase.
That's an intruder deterrent.
Yep.
What's wrong with a lock? Like, they can't get into. There's that. So there's a hidden knife as well, which
Yep.
would get picked up on customs. 20 rounds of ammo for the folding AR-7 sniper, which was an actual thing. It wasn't just made for the film.
Alright, so that's a real thing. You
Yeah,
can
but the
get
thing I
that.
found interesting was the 50 gold sovereigns.
Yep.
So that is an actual thing that not just spies carried, but special forces carried as well. And I remember this when I was watching it again from reading books on the Gulf War in the 90s, where
Okay.
special forces used to have a band of gold sovereigns on their waist underneath their uniform. Never carried currency.
Right.
Because that's weight and money and it could get wet and such. So if they were ever, maybe not captured, but in
Like
order to
stranded
bribe
somewhere.
people, they were given 50 gold sovereigns because gold
Okay.
is a currency everywhere, and they could give that off or they could give the whole thing, and that's
Yeah.
something they could give to not get given up or give as like a ransom to get away. So that's like a widely known thing.
That's
Could
pretty
be
good. So
more
that's
than
good, like real life spying
Yes.
as well.
I don't know if spies would have had it, maybe they did, but I know soldiers definitely had it because at the head of like a special forces soldier is like quite a lot. So they could, if they were, maybe someone was hiding them and the person didn't want to give them up or get a reward for that, they could say, look, don't give me up because I have more money here to give you, not physical cash because that's too heavy, but here's gold sovereigns which you can take and trade
Yeah, you
for
can
things.
take it anywhere.
So I thought
Like,
that was
obviously probably
that was
unmarked.
quite nice. It was quite convenient that here's a case in case you need it. okay, that's good. I'm going to use everything.
Every single
single thing here. I'm going to use a knife.
How much
I didn't get all
is
the- why did he-
50 gold sovereigns? In 1963, it was £415, which equates to
I was going to say
15,000,
15 grand today, or 15,
which
20.
is a lot to have in a case. 50 sovereigns.
It's not, they're quite thin though.
Yeah, but it's a big monetary value.
Nah.
He says that he gives them to every operative. Every operative has 15 grand plus the rest.
What an investment. Imagine coming back.
trust.
Where's that case? I lost it.
Spent it
Why did they stab? He stabbed Red Grant in the arm and then he choked him.
with his own
Stab him
thing.
in the arm and then stab him there. I've just thought about that. They're like, why?
It's not as cool.
It's not as cinematic.
Yeah, you have to kill him
Um,
with his own weapon.
But yeah, I mean, the gadgets were more plentiful this time.
Yeah, they become more of a thing.
Then obviously there's the Bentley.
Which is
at the
his
start, yeah.
which is his car of choice in the books, a Bentley.
Yes. Which had a phone on it, which apparently was like cool as fuck. And
Who is he on the beach with?
he is on the beach
Or
with.
the river side?
He's on the beach with. She's from Doctor No.
Yep.
My name
What's
is.
her name? What's her name?
Come back to me. Trench, Sylvia Trench.
Yes, well done. Yeah.
Point for me.
And the original
Right, now pay attention, 007.
The original plan was for her to become a recurring character in the first 6 films. She was supposed to be
But nobody wanted it.
the first kind of draft was her to be his kind of semi girlfriend that he keeps coming back to. But that was obviously quickly dropped.
Yes.
After this, she's never seen again.
Red Grant got her.
But that does lead us on to the rest of the cast, doesn't it?
I thought we're finished with the cast. Not
Do you
all
know-
the cast?
Well, see the ally that he has, Kerim Bey.
Yeah. Did he not die shortly after? Or did
Yeah.
he kill himself?
Yeah, he had. I'm pretty sure he had really bad cancer, and this was going to be his last film and he was struggling to get through it.
This is while he was filming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even some of the shots where you don't see his face isn't actually him. It's Terence Young, because he was so ill or he'd already died and they had to go back and do things.
That's mad.
But I think it's pretty. He was actually one of my favourite characters in this.
Yeah. He seemed to be unfazed by everything.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, the bomb went off. Bomb, it's fine.
It's fine. I was
I was
over
like-
there.
Like,
He doesn't. He seems to know everything, be unfazed. He's got girls every day,
yeah.
a different
like-
girl every night.
What is this? What's going on here?
It's Turkey. It's cool. The periscope. Do you not think it was a bit weird, or why did nobody see a giant periscope in the office?
I think it was, no, because it was so low down. I don't know. I try not
You
to.
got a submarine periscope poking out through the ground.
Yeah.
Surely you'd see that if you're
Do you
big
know,
high
it must
Russian
be in
embassy.
the walls. And then it's maybe behind a grate or something as to why you can't see it. But then surely you would hear yeah,
Yeah, screeching and stuff.
I don't know.
Right, it's
I
time for question 2.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, I thought we were going to
Right.
talk about the song.
No.
Okay, no song.
There is no song.
Song's the most iconic bit of it. We'll come back to the song.
We'll come back to the song. Question 2. If you press the button, question 2.
We've already heard it.
Okay. What aliases do James Bond and Tatiana use whilst on the train? On the Orient Express? I think
Still
a
a bit
lot
trash.
of people would probably actually miss that.
No, I think
Some people would
there was
remember that.
something shared last week about, I'm not going to say the first name.
Okay.
And that was one of the things of saying that was quite a well known. I don't know if there's a story behind it. There might be.
Why they were called that?
Yeah. And to be honest, I can't even remember the names now.
Oh.
I remember his name, but that was it. I think most people will know that because
I
it
remember
is
the
quite
surname.
widely known. Yeah, the surname I can't remember. I remember the first name. That very
Together
common
we
name.
know it.
Yes, we'll come up with something together.
Okay, the song From Russia with Love, sung by Matt Monro, who I think sung Born Free, Free, and other things.
Who wrote Born Free?
Sean Connery.
No, there was someone connected with James Bond wrote Born Free. They won an Oscar for it, I believe.
Do you know?
I could be making stuff up actually.
Do you know?
I'm sure this is from the documentary. Was it not?
Was it the guy?
What's his name?
Him.
Sylvia Trench.
The guy, Don Black. No?
Was it on Black? No.
He wrote.
Who wrote the
others.
song?
Who wrote the song?
Not John Barry. The song was right. We just spoke about it 2 weeks ago. How bad are we? Monty Norman.
Monty Norman wrote.
Was Monty Norman not involved with Born Free?
I don't think so.
I'm 1% sure he is.
I don't think so.
I'm sure it said in the documentary.
Maybe it wasn't
there
Don Black, but the Sound of 007 documentary does say.
something about Born Free.
I think it was just in connection with Matt Monro. See, when I was growing up in
don't know.
school, one of the prefects was called Ross Monroe, and I kept calling him Matt, and he was always angry. I kept calling him the wrong thing, and he didn't even know who Matt Monroe was.
Thanks for tuning in, Ross. Hope you're watching.
Where are you now, Ross?
Still annoyed you're calling him that.
An old man.
I don't really have any stories about why Matt Monro was picked for it. I mean, it's a good voice. It's a very catchy song, and it will stay in your head. You were meant to sing it this week.
From Russia with love.
Ross Monroe, is that?
I don't think he could sing.
Yeah, I like the song. The song is actually at the end. There's no.
Yeah, which makes it different.
There's no title sequence at the start at all. You're just kind of thrown.
There is titles.
Is there?
Yeah, you have
Oh yeah,
the
you
assassination.
can't read them.
Because they're on the girl's body.
Yeah, I was like, no one can read this.
Who's in this film?
Okay, it's an instrumental, isn't it? Of From Russia with Love.
Over the titles, I don't know what the song is. It's not From Russia with Love.
Is it not?
From Russia with Love starts on the radio.
Yeah, when they're at the side.
The side of the water.
But then it's played at random points throughout, and then it's played at the end when they're in the gondola.
Like the full real song.
Yeah.
Which is the only time that happens, I think.
Yes, of the whole series.
I knew that the whole idea of having a pre-title sequence kind of happened by accident. They didn't originally plan for that. They were going to go straight into the titles and then do.
It's quite a weird thing. It's only James Bond films have that. No other series of films has, because no other series of films have like, oh, we need a title song for it. We need to change it every film.
Yeah,
it's
true.
We'll have just a section for music and credits. It's quite cool. Any other film does it, it would be ripping it off.
Yeah, you'd be ripping it off. It's quite. I think it's quite good. It's like its own separate short story most of the time. Like, but then sometimes it actually is the crux of the whole film come. I like it that they've done that. Another thing that's become iconic that at the time was just a mistake.
Yeah.
Something that they just tried
Everything's
out.
a mistake. It just doesn't work and it has to be changed again.
You're saying something could be ripped off. Do you know what was ripped off in this film? Or not ripped off, let's call it an homage.
I don't know.
The helicopter scene was an homage to what amazing other spy film?
Johnny English.
Yes.
An amazing spy film.
A spy film?
Oh, the only other films I can think about at that time is like The Man from U.N.C.L.E. or something. No.
10 years prior.
10 years prior to this
Yeah,
film.
in the mid 55? 54, 55.
I don't know. Bridge over the River Kwai. I don't know.
Is Sean Connery in that too? No, it's a link here. Cary Grant.
To Catch a Thief.
No.
Vertigo.
Close. He's not even in that. It's
He's not in Vertigo.
No, that's James Stewart.
Oh yeah.
North by Northwest, the crop duster scene.
Oh right.
That's an homage to that.
I think I have seen North by Northwest, but I can't quite remember it.
I think North by Northwest is top 3 films of all time.
Back to Cary Grant.
That's what I'm saying, there's the link. But yeah, I think they deliberately made that an homage.
As I said, it's that a lot happens at the end of this film. All the action is squeezed into the end. Which does actually bring us on to the Bond moments, because the end is actually a lot of the Bond moments. This where everything well, actually no, because I've discussed the time for Grant to kill Bond versus the time for Bond to kill Grant, which is a moment for me I have just rediscovered.
Yeah.
Maybe the first.
Yes, hopefully somebody can confirm that.
Shooting the helicopter passenger to drop the grenade,
That's
which
a
was
cool
just
moment.
lucky.
That's a signature Bond thing, that he always has the lucky shot. I think it's quite
Yes.
cool. Even Legolas has the lucky shot.
But I think shooting something is always just right at the end. So then shooting the oil barrel with the flare gun to set like the oil in the water.
Yeah.
But the shoe knife is always like iconic. That
Yeah,
happened
it's
twice.
iconic.
It was Kronstein that was killed with the shoe knife.
Yep.
And then there was a shoe knife at the end. Which I just remembered something there. So you know how people say, why is Sean Connery holding this gun in the From Russia With Love posters? So he's holding like a long, but look like a revolver,
Yep.
like a long barrel thing. Do you know this?
I have it
You do
written
know
down.
this? Well, for those that don't know, that was the photographer's air pistol.
Air pistol.
That because what was it? They didn't send one over. No, they wanted a. No, I can't remember. They didn't have a gun.
They didn't have the right gun.
So he just gave that, and then he just assumed that they would just airbrush it and just edit the real gun
Yeah.
in. But the studio
But they
went,
kept it.
yeah, fuck it, just keep that in.
Too much money to edit it.
Yeah, we've got this money to blow up helicopters and boats, but we're not editing that picture.
We have no money left.
Yeah, I think all the Bond moments were near the end. That was it. It was
Yeah.
just
The flare gun to set alight all the oil, that's cool. And it also looks very... it was real, but it looks as if the people were really on fire and really got hurt because
I
of
think-
the explosions, and
I think they were because
It was really-
it
it looked like they could have all ended up in hospital.
yeah, because I think I don't know, there was too many people out there for not one person to get hurt, and they probably could have been hurt in some way, but yeah,
Up in Scotland,
I know.
there are no rules in the sea.
There are no rules. Yeah, that was it. There was nothing. But other than the fight sequence in the train, I really like the fight sequence because
Yeah,
I like
an iconic scene that's repeated in Spectre.
Yeah,
It's in
but it was
something
the
else.
blue light. It was the smashed light, and it was just the blue light there, and I was like, "Oh, that's quite cool, actually." Because now it makes
the
it
darkness.
not like a studio. It was all like really dark. It took them 3 weeks to film the whole thing because
Yeah.
it was the actual actors doing it. Sean Connery's hair kept falling off. No, that didn't happen. Yeah.
I don't have much other moments apart from that last 15 minutes is like all the Bond moments. Maybe as one-liners start coming through more in this film, and I think some of those are the Bond moments, like when he shoots the guy climbing down the billboard. It's she should have kept her mouth shut.
Yeah.
That was a good one. I like that.
Which brings us on to the final question.
Question 3.
Do you want to read
Okay.
this one?
Question 3. Which film is on the side of the building when Kirilenko is assassinated?
Kirilenko?
I think
thought
it's
it was
Kirilenko.
I've written Kirilenko. It's probably Kirilenko. Just don't trust anything I've written. It's not real.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that was a good one actually.
I didn't even pay attention to that when you sent over that question. I was like, I don't know.
Exactly. You don't need a hard one to end in.
It's like, yeah, the hard ones there. But I was like, a film? I was like, I don't know. Like, Tenet?
What did you think of the plot? Really, like you sent me a message when you were watching it to say this is pretty slow and it's going on?
That was the first time I was
The
watching
first
it.
time you seen it?
Because I was just wanting something to happen.
Yeah, nothing.
I don't know
really
if I just knew
happens.
something was going to, but then I was paying attention to what they were actually saying because I didn't understand the dynamic. I was like, right, so there's the British spy and there's the Russian spy, and then there's this other guy here. Why is he saving him? Why is he in the gypsy camp? Why is he saving him here? Why is he stopping the other Smersh operatives from stealing the map for the embassy? Like, why is this? Everyone can die from a chop in this film as well. It's like,
Yeah. Go on.
I didn't understand it, but then when I watched it again, I was like, I get what he's doing now, and that's why I was like, clever man. No one spots him, and he just pushing it on.
I think maybe the whole Turkey kind of parts of the film, especially the gypsy camp, could probably be
Just
removed or at least shortened
Didn't
to
care
like
for it
a
at all.
minute, and there would be no difference. Because it got to the point where I was like, what's the point in this? Why is he judging this competition between the two gypsy women?
Yeah, what is that say? And then it's like, oh no, well done. You win both. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yes, yeah. Judging who should marry some gypsy guy, and he has to
Was
determine the winner.
Was the name Nash given to Nash in No Time to Die for that reason? The blonde?
No, it's Ash in No Time to Die.
I thought it was Nash.
I think it's Ash.
Logan.
Logan Ash.
Logan Nash.
Ash.
I'm sure it's Nash.
I think it's Ash.
Oh, I'm not going to do it right now. Waste
No.
time. Logan
Somebody
Nash.
can write in, but I think it's
like
Ash.
Ketchum.
Like, I don't know who that is.
Logan, that Pokemon.
I thought that's what you meant, but I've not seen Pokemon.
Logan Nash. I'm sure it's Nash.
It's Ash.
It's going to be like, what is it? And is it The Simpsons or something? No, it's like it's the baseball thing in The Simpsons.
Pit the Elder.
What is
Pit
it?
the Elder and Lord Palmerston.
That is it. Lord Palmerston.
Pit the Elder.
Fucking hell, man.
We've descended into madness.
Nash.
Ash.
Nash.
Ash.
Let's wrap this up.
Right.
Let's go on the bold. So again, for those who are watching this, actually I've watched it on Spotify, because you can watch it on Spotify.
Yeah, you can watch it.
You can watch it on YouTube. If you do have the audio, then this makes no sense to you, but we have a whiteboard, and
Gear
we
style.
have Top Gear whiteboard, and we have Dr. No on the ranking. Where does Russia with Love come? And I think we're probably both in agreement that it's
Yeah.
better than Dr. No.
It's a lot better. I would put it. And when it comes to the end, it's up here somewhere. Top.
We don't know that yet.
I would say it's my
but
top
yeah,
5
I don't know about
films.
anyone watching, but From Russia with Love is better than Dr. No. And if you disagree with that,
100%.
then I don't care. Keep your opinions to yourself.
We'll delete your comment anyway.
And yeah, answer the questions, follow us on Instagram and Facebook and all that, or send anything. I don't send any message at all. and just
Contact us in some way. We might
answer.
get back to you.
And we will have merch next time. We'll have t-shirts, we'll have mugs, which you can win or you can buy, or you can do both. You can win them and you can buy some for your friends. Maybe. We should have a snappy way of signing off, but we don't have one.
We don't.
Because we're
Not
not
yet.
that good.
Buy something to keep us going.
Okay. Nash, he's called Nash.
It's Ash. It's
Pit the Elder.
Lord Palmerston.
Okay, bye bye. See you next time.